Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. And as promised by Nikon, we are about to kickstart a session related to sports photography. Thank you for joining in, guys. Thank you. Am I audible? Like, am I clearly audible? Can you guys maybe just comment over there? Yeah, guys, am I audible? Like, my voice is clear? Guys, I'm waiting for your comments to know if I'm properly audible. If you guys can hear me, is there any technical glitch or something? Like, edit queries. So I just came in early, like 5 6 minutes early, because I really wanted things to work out really well for everyone. Because last time, due to some technical glitch, we had to face some errors, the eco thing and all that. So for you guys, I'm just typing a comment. If any one of you is interested to buy any sort of equipment of Nikon, I'm just typing this comment for you. There's a email ID where you can drop an email, and these guys will definitely help you out. Here is it for you. Great. So I got like few comments who are saying that yes, you are audible. Okay, so welcome at the official page of Nikon India. As promised, I'm gonna be doing a sports photography session for all of you. My name is Navin Kumar. I'm based in Delhi, and as mentioned, the session is majorly gonna be about sports photography. And even in sports photography, my key forte is motorsports. So I'll be sharing a lot of things. I'll be sharing a lot of behind the scenes stories. I'll be sharing a lot of moments, a lot of inside moments which I had, which I faced when I was doing such sort of shoots. So just to kickstart things, and just to have few more people to join in, I'll just start with a quick behind the scenes sort of video which I just made like a few days ago. Like, this quarantine has helped me a lot to understand that. So okay, let's start with a quick video so that you can actually get to know what exactly the session is all gonna be about. So here's it for you. Watch it, and we'll wait for few more people to join in, and let's just. So this is a behind the scene video of a cycling photography assignment. I'm just playing it because I would really want to have more people join in first. Hello everyone. Hello Pratik. Hello. So this is what a time lapse video which I made recently. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is, uh, so as I mentioned, my name is Navin. I've been doing sports photography since 2011, and I started back in photography back in 2007. uh, it's been a while. It's been a decade, more than a decade, I would say. And I started as a hobbyist back in 2007, and my first photography assignment was in 2011. And since that day onwards, I was like having some sort of inclination towards action and all that. I used to shoot, kids playing around, all those gully cricket matches and all that, just for the sake of fun, just for the sake of learning. And gradually, I got to realize that sports photography is something which can actually pursue as a profession as well. And gradually things worked out. I got my first sports photography assignment. That was for Airtel Delhi half marathon. You all must have heard about it. So that was the first assignment which I did. That was a marathon, and since that day onwards, the that particular client is linked with me. I'm linked with them, and we have been doing hell lot of shoots. Like in India, I can probably say that I have done almost every single marathon, like every single big marathon. Like these days, marathons are like super common. So yeah, all the big marathons, you take a name, I've done it in India, and even in all these neighboring countries and all, I've done a lot of marathons over there as well. So that's the story. Started in 2011, gradually kept improving, kept working on upgrading my equipment, kept upgrading my skills, kept on getting a lot of assignments related to not just sports, other things as well, other genres as well. And things were working like really fine. And I think I should mention here, like I bought my first DSLR. I'm talking about DSLR. I bought my first DSLR back in 2007. It was, to be precise, it was 31st of December 2007, and that was a D40X. Most of you might have heard about that camera, most of you might have not. So at that point of time, it was considered as one of the smallest cameras, like smallest compact DSLRs of that time. And I started with that camera, and you won't believe it had like 3 FPS something, 3.5 FPS, if I'm able to recollect properly. I think it was 3 FPS. With that 3 FPS camera, I started shooting marathons, and gradually ended up doing motorsports, ended up doing badminton, cricket. I kept upgrading, obviously. So okay, so in this session, I think, as I mentioned, my key forte is, even in sports, my key forte is motorsports. So I'll be sharing a lot of stuff related to motorsports only. And when I talk about motorsports, they are like you know mm, several companies. There are several companies, like majorly the automobile companies, or tire manufacturing companies. They are actually putting a lot of efforts to promote motorsports in India, because that way they are able to fetch clients as well. They are able to promote their products as well. For them, the products are their cars, or maybe their tires, something like that. So I got linked with a company back in 2016. Yeah, 2016 was the first year when I did my first car rally, and that was the Desert Storm car rally, which was being sponsored by Maruti, and I was working for them. And uh, that was quite a thrilling experience. That was very, I mean, when you are shooting car rally, things are like super different and difficult. Why I'm saying that is because I learned this lesson on day one. Since I was not that great with the kind of sports I was dealing with, the car rallies, a lot of you might have not done that. So even I hadn't done it before. You have to start from somewhere, right? So I started over there. Since I hadn't done it like before that, so I was like super duper confused what to shoot, what not to shoot. And so that's the first experience which I have ever had. And from that, I learned about it, that for shooting any sort of sports, any you take any name, it's extremely important to understand the sheer nuances of that particular sports. You can't shoot more sports if you don't know how to read a road book. Might be few of you must be thinking that what is a road book. I'll just come back to it. And along with that, I'll just put some photographs here so that you can have a look. And I think, guys, I'm seeing a lot of hello comments. Hello to you all those thumbs up and everything. Just a quick question to whosoever is watching: am I audible like properly? Can you hear me? I hope there's no glitch or something like that. Am I audible properly, guys? Can I have a comment saying yes or something? Or no, maybe? I'm waiting. Okay, so I'm assuming that everything is working perfectly fine. I'm perfectly audible to everyone. So I was just talking about the motorsports photography, and this is the first photograph which I would like you all to have a look at. So this was shot back in 2018 for a desert storm rally in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. This place is actually in Jaisalmer. Most of you must have been to Jaisalmer, but I can vouch on that you can't go to this place for sure. I mean, because motorsports and all these rallies and all such sort of adventure sports, these sports take you to places which are like super duper difficult to go on your own. There are like a lot of permissions involved. There are like a lot of risks involved and all that stuff. Okay, so I'm closing the comments right now because since I've started sharing my pictures, you guys would be able to see the pictures properly. Just a quick second. Okay, so I hope the picture is looking fine on your screens. So I'll start with this. This was being shot at the Desert Storm Rally, middle of the day, 12ish p.m. The temperature was around 45 or maybe more than that. I mean, if you're in a desert, the temperature, I mean, 45-degree temperatures looks like, feels like, more than 50, and you're actually dying out of everything. I mean, it's very hard to be there. So when it comes to more sports photography, I always say this thing to whosoever talk to, that photography part in motorsports is I would say 10 or 15%. The other 85 and 90% of the stuff, the other 85-90% of the time is what you need for planning things, for being at the right spot at the right time. When you're shooting motorsports, I'll just give a brief idea about the behind the stuff which goes behind for planning all these things. What happens? Let me just change the photograph. So what happens for every sort of car rallies, all these organizers and all these companies, what they do, they release a road book. There's something called road book, and it's very important for everyone to understand that road book very clearly and properly. I mean, for a naive eye, it's like a book made up of all those lines and all. It's very hard to understand it. But what happens? If you don't have that road book, you can't actually trace a car. I mean, you are in the middle of nowhere, and you won't be able to spot the car at any point of time, because what happens when the car is driving in the desert, there are like several paths from where it can actually drive through, but these drivers and navigators, they have to follow a particular path, they have to follow a particular track, and finding that particular track in the middle of nowhere is something which you can only do with the help of a road book. So a road book is something which is very important for everyone to read, to understand. It's very hard to understand it. Like initially it becomes hard for everyone, but gradually you just get hang of everything. And I'll just talk a bit about this picture. This was being shot again in Jaisalmer. This is again Desert Storm Rally. I've done like 5-6 Desert Storm rallies till now, and this was again shot over there. And as you can see, my even though my photo is sports, I try to compose my pictures with the with a way in a way that they can actually reveal a lot of ambience. So even in this shot, as you can see, it's being shot around at maybe 24 or I think maybe I shot it with a 16-35 lens or something like that. So it's a wide angle shot, and I prefer to reveal the surroundings even when I'm shooting sports. If you talk about like hardcore sports photographer who are doing cricket, who are doing basketball, football, or maybe those action sports which has balls included in it, they tend to zoom up as much as they can. Like we have to use all those bigger lenses. I do cricket as well. Definitely yes, you have to use those bigger lenses to get that perfect moment. But for particularly for the more sports, what I try to do is I try to reveal more and more about the surroundings. Because there's no point of shooting that particular sport uh, when you can't see the surroundings at all. So that's what I do. I mean, if you'll have a look at most of my pictures, I try to reveal as much surroundings as I can. Even in this picture, this was shot in a very secluded area of Jammu, which is not accessible at all. It's like closed. No one can go there. Like no, like we people are not allowed over there. Just the army can go there, and there are like special permissions involved. So this is called Mughal Rally. They have closed it actually. It's not happening now. This used to happen like 4 years ago, if I'm not wrong. So this was being shorter. So think of it. If a client hires you to shoot their assignment, and they are doing that particular assignment in a particular area, then it's very important for me. Like for me, I don't know about everyone else. For me, it's like super duper important to get the hang of that area as well. My photographs should be good enough to not just capture the action, but the surroundings as well, because that's what the client wants to see. I mean, similarly, this very same client actually did a car rally in desert. They would definitely want to see the desert all around, right, along with the action. So if you just keep on shooting photographs, I mean, a lot of people think that shooting sports is majorly about using all those bigger lenses. I'm someone who actually negates that fact completely, because it depends on your shooting style. It depends completely on the fact that how you are taking up things. I'll show you this picture, though. I mean, this is quite a nice shot. But if I compare this shot with this one, though they are not comparable at all in terms of that's a bike, that's a car, and things like that. If I compare these two photographs, I would say I would personally prefer to shoot more of this rather than that of the bike. Why I'm saying that is because this looks, you know, uh, this looks very common, I would say. Um, I don't know. There's nothing special about this picture, but as I say, when you are working for a particular client, you have to deliver everything in terms of you have to deliver these sort of photographs which are like completely zoomed up, totally focusing on the person who's driving his automobile, his car or bike or whatever. And you have to deliver such sort of pictures as well, in which all those surroundings are visible. I would like to share one more image from the Mughal rally. Uh, this is the one. So most of you might not think that might be thinking that this is not a very difficult photograph to do. But I'll just in a moment I'll just reveal a small story about this picture. And even I know that this is not a very astonishing sort of picture which creates an awe factor. But being there, being at that particular spot, in the middle of these grasslands, I mean all these grass blades which you are seeing all around, and shooting just bang in front of the car is like something which is very difficult to do. I'll just share a picture which will give you a small preview of the kind of conditions which I had at this particular point of time. Just allow me 1 second for that. So what happens when these cars are driving? These drivers are usually driving at astonishingly high speeds, even in such sort of tracks. And for such sort of tracks, what happens is when the wheels roll, these stones they actually get pelted on you. You end up realizing that okay, this is the picture I was talking about. So now compare this photograph with the one which I like shared like 10 seconds ago. This is not a very great shot, but I'm just sharing it for the reference purpose. Why I'm doing that is because all these grass blades which you are seeing all around, and there are like few grass blades just in front of my camera as well. So what I'm trying to explain here is like you get to see such sort of situations which are like super risky as well, because imagine a car driving bang into you in a very small path. It's not even a road, in a very small path which is paved by all those round river stones which are actually getting which are actually flying in there just because of the pressure of the wheels, I mean the tires. So, and immediately you are standing on that turn, and this is the only spot which you have from the complete stage. When you are standing on a turn, all these grass blades, these drivers are usually not able to identify that someone is standing over there. So it's very important to make sure that you are choosing your spots very wisely. So when I talk about more sports, there are like few things which I would like to uh, mention here. uh, it's majorly about vantage point. Look at this picture. I mean, this was being shot at the Mughal Rally, and again, as I said, these areas are not accessible at all for general public, and this rally has been closed as well. So the only point of getting this shot was to convey an idea of the landscape along with the action in the photograph. Like the front wheels of the car are actually in the air, the right one especially. I mean, if I'll zoom in, you'll be able to see more. Yes. So, in my sports photography, my key forte photography, I tend to shoot more of wide shots so that I can convey the feeling more, so that I can create an emotional connect with the kind of landscape that where that action is actually happening. So these are few pictures, and I'll show you a quick shot of when we are shooting rallies. As I mentioned, that vantage points are very important. It's very important to find that perfect vantage point for getting that amazing shot. I'll share a quick picture, a behind the scene kind of picture. So this is how I was being captured by one of my fellow photographers who shot me, because as you can see, it's like complete flat land all around, and it's good to shoot pictures from the lower angle. Like if you're shooting motorsport, if you're shooting cars, it's always good to shoot pictures from the lower angle. But since I had been shooting all these lower angle shots from last few days, I decided to get a higher vantage point, which was like impossible at that point of time, so I had to do this. And when you are into more sports, they are like you get a lot of opportunities of shooting different sort of setups as well. I'll share a quick picture which is not related to sports photography though, but this is one picture which I was lucky enough to capture when I was on an assignment for one of my clients. Look at this picture. I shot this on assignment when I was waiting for cars and all that. We were just there was me, one more videographer, and his assistant. We were just walking here and there, trying to find that particular route, and suddenly I got this frame. So this is what more sports brings, a lot of possibilities, a lot of things which you can't even think of. I'll just go back to this thing. I hope you can see this picture properly. Since in the initial when I started this session, I mentioned about it that my very first assignment was related to marathon. It was a Delhi marathon which I did, and after that I kept doing a lot of marathons and all, like around everywhere. My second most interesting and most complicated, and I would say most difficult assignment was this. This was being done for a company called Apollo Tires. They are into tire manufacturing. They did this event. They called this team from Australia. I mean, if you search one, that's called Nitro Circus. So this team was brought from Australia to perform all these stunts and all. And this particular shot was being taken around 10:11 in the night, 10:11 p.m. There were no lights. It was a staged setup. The sky was blank, everything was like, you know, completely messed up. And even in that scenario, I was being told to get some action out of it. So this is what I did. Yeah. So as you can see, these pictures are a bit dark, but even in the darkness, they're actually revealing about the fact that the event is happening in the night time. So when I say I'm completely into sports photography, I'm not saying that I don't shoot other stuff, and I would call myself as a corporate sports photographer rather than a hardcore sports photographer, because majorly the kind of assignments I do is for corporate. Even in corporate, you get to see a lot of sports activities happening everywhere. So these are some pictures, and I would be sharing, I would like to share this one with you. So this is the one shot which I was fortunate enough to get um, in an autocross that happened in Gurgaon like some time back. I think it's been a year or so. So, as I mentioned, vantage points are very important. Think of this car driving just straight bang into the camera. You won't be getting all that dust cloud and everything like that. You would be just getting a straight car coming straight into the camera. But what happens when you are into that scenario, when you are experienced, when you have that judgmental skills working right for you, you end up shooting such sort of pictures where the action is happening just for you. I mean, sometimes, I say this to myself quite often that I'm like lucky enough to get all these shots, because like there were like hell lot of photographers over there, but they were not able to get this. Why they were not? Because I consider myself as lucky. In sports, it's very important to keep yourself safe. In motorsports in particular, in more sports, very important to handle your vantage points really well. It's very important to plan your schedule really well. It's very important to know who's the next participant who will be coming after this one. Let's have a look at this picture. So similarly, what I tend to shoot in more sports is the what I call it, the side profile. Usually I shoot the side profile of the cars, because that gives the third dimension to that photograph as well. And along with that, it's always great to shoot cars when they are turning, and when they are turning on speeds above 100 and all, you end up getting something like this. I mean, who would have imagined a car like an Alto can give you a shot like this? But yes, you can definitely do it. So uh, you know apart from vantage points, there's something called your skill of operating your equipment. What happens that you plan out your things for really long. You do things, you have been into the stage. When I say stage, it's the track where the cars are moving or maybe just driving. So when you are into the stage, what happens, you all your planning, whatever you have planned, it just goes in a fraction of second. I'll just share a quick video which can actually show you that how quick these moments are. You end up getting what, 5 seconds to get that perfect shot. So as you can see, it's a 14-second video. I might have got like 4 seconds for a single car. So such sort of planning is required, because you never get a second chance. You never get a second chance. Look at this picture. I mean, this video. The car just came in. It was there in that puddle for maybe 1 second or maybe 2 seconds. Within that 2 seconds, you had to fetch that particular shot which you had planned, and that's it. There's something very crazy about more sports. A lot of people have asked me as well about this. People who are into the trade, there are very few though. I mean, most of you, if you look into this picture, you can definitely understand it really well that it has been shot in the night. So in more sports, what happen is you have stages. you have stages, and you have night stages as well. So when you talk about night stages, all these cars, all these participants are required to drive uh, solely on their headlamps, their headlights. There are no artificial lights are allowed. So this was shot in Desert Storm again few years ago. And as you can see, there's a pole in the background. This was the area where all these cars were coming in to finish the race, to finish the race at the end. And suddenly this one got stuck over there, because if I remember it properly, the axle wasn't working really well. So this was being shot. A lot of you might be thinking that in a night stage, when there is only one light pole visible in the background, there might be few, I mean there were few for sure, but these lights were not enough to give you such sort of action in night time. And even the ISO has not been boosted, like to maybe 50,000 or something like that. It has not been boosted. So a lot of people ask me how I shoot such sort of pictures. So I what I do is, for night stages and all, I I use flashes. And when I say flashes, I use a combination of flashes. So in sports photography, especially in motorsports, I think, uh, like I have never met any photographer out there who has been using flashes to lit up all these night photographs. They have been using one camera flashes and all that, but I try to do setup of flashes to get such sort of pictures, because this is something no one is doing. I mean, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there who would be doing it around the world, but I haven't met anyone. As you can see in this picture, what I did is, I use a two flash setup. One is from my bag and one is behind the car, and with the hope that I'll be getting the shot. I'll be lucky enough to get that shot. I mean, if you look at this picture, if I wouldn't have been using the flash, there's no possibility here that I could get such sort of action in a night stage at night time. There's no possibility at all. uh, so when you talk about sports photography, it's not like that you are always shooting action. Even in sports, you need to have like all sort of knowledge of everything. You should be like really comfortable with your camera equipment and everything. I'll show you this picture as well. So this is called panning. Along with the panning, a flash setup has been used. A lot of you might be knowing about the slow curtain sync flash setup. So it is like that. I really wanted to bring out that motion blur sort of thing for this particular image, and yeah, I was able to achieve it. So if any one of you have any questions or something like that, I'll be opening all these comments in a moment, and then we can definitely answer a few questions, and then I'll be sharing more images. I mean, look at this picture. In more sports, I'll just share a behind the scene picture of my own self, just to show you the kind of the kind of clothing, the kind of equipment I carry, the kind of setup I'm working with, and why so. I mean, look at this picture. You can actually see two cameras here. There are like carabinas, there's a hat, there's a mask as well, and I'll tell you why I have been using all that stuff. So, especially when you're shooting more sports, especially in desert or in areas where things are not very great, it's very advisable, it's very important to use a mask, because you end up getting such sort of dust clouds when you are done with the photograph. Once the car passes away from you, you get such sort of dust clouds, and these dust clouds are like super duper harmful, not just for you, even for the camera as well. And since I've shown you one picture of my own self wearing that mask, let me just share a quick picture that how I actually secure my camera, because it's very important to secure your camera as well. Because when you're working in an environment like this, all those small dust particles, they tend to go inside your equipment, and when you are working on a 7 8 days or 10 days assignment, that too at a secluded place, um, it's very important to secure your camera as well. So I had like accidentally shot this picture some time back. As you can see, on the right side of the camera, I've completely taped it up with a white tape, and even on the left hand side you can see all those buttons are taped up with a tape. And why I've done that is because when you're shooting in these sandy conditions, where the dust particles are like really really small, they just enter into your camera from anywhere, and you end up getting even, in fact, I should tell you, like, this happened with me. I had one 7200 lens, the previous version, the one which we had, VR2 I'm talking about, 7200 VR2. So I had that lens, and I was shooting this Desert Storm rally only. It was maybe third or fourth one, or whatever. So I was doing that, and on day two, I'm talking about, it was a 7 day rally. On day two, my lens just gave up. And why it gave up? Because though it was a third fourth rally, I had like experience of doing things. I knew what all care I should be taking to protect my equipment, but it gave up. The reason was the dust particles. And when I was rotating that barrel or the zoom ring and all, the dust particles actually entered into it, and all that screeching sounds were coming in, and I just avoided those sounds, and the result was that the lens gave up. I had to like take it to the Nikon and had to handle the whole rally without a 7200. So at that point of time, I was like lucky enough that my particular choice of doing things is doing things wide, shooting things in wide rather than zooming up a lot on the subjects. Why I have placed this photograph is because this photograph actually represents, as you can see, that's an air filter cabinet over there, and it's filled with sand. I mean, there's a proper, like, I would say, half-inch layer of sand over there, and it's there because this car had finished the stage, and it just came back. And all these people who are actually into maintaining these cars were working on it, and they just opened everything and they found this. So imagine a car can, the air filter, even after having so much of filtration, the air filter cabin has got so much of sand into it. So imagine doing that with the camera. That's what we have to do. I mean, I've even had times when I have lost cameras. Lost in the sense, they just broke off completely. I was using a D500. Uh, no, which one is that? I was using which one? I think it was D500 or something. Uh, I'll have to recollect. Yeah, there was one camera which I had. I was shooting a rally in Arunachal Pradesh, that's called INRC, and suddenly on day one an accident happened, and I was like very close to it, and the camera just ripped off like anything, and the whole rally went into ruins for me. But I was lucky enough, uh, because I always carry backup equipment. Obviously you can't carry backup lenses, but backup camera bodies are something which is a must for every sports photographer. I mean, not just motorsports. If you are doing any sort of sports, it's like super duper advisable for you to carry backup body for sure. Just look at this picture. This one is like really close to me. um, the kind of emotions which you are seeing in the background, all those village kids, they are having fun watching these riders passing through them. The composition and everything, the rule of thirds. Okay, I'll come to rule of thirds in more sports as well, though I prefer doing things within the box. But I think, though I've learned all the rules and everything, it's very important for you to uh, break the rules as well. I mean, this is a very common statement, but I would say when you are shooting more sports, just compare this picture, and I mean, it's like completely made up picture in terms of composition and everything. There's a lot of negative space on the left hand side. There's some space on the right top as well. but just, and the rule of thirds has been followed very well. And just compare this picture with this one. So, though everyone would have said that it would have been great to have more space on the right hand side rather than on the left hand side, but I think for me, I like I prefer to experiment with things. I prefer to break all these rules as well in terms of compositions. And I believe that every composition is different. It's just about finding that perfect balance between that particular composition. Have a look at this picture. I mean, this is a shot which I did again in desert, and as you can see, the kind of thrust that the rear tire has been producing is like amazing. It's astonishing actually. So I mean, this picture is closer to me. I would have preferred to give more space on the left hand side, but I think the centrally aligned composition is something which I really prefer to see in this shot. So as I said, it's very important to learn all the rules, and again, it's very important to learn how to break them wisely for your for your betterment, I would say. It's a lot of people say that it's very important to create pictures which have like all those golden ratios and all. You might have heard about golden ratios. If you haven't, just Google about it. That's like a common thing. It's more or less like rule of thirds. So all those golden ratios play a very pivotal role in terms of creating that impact on your psyche. In terms of your brain actually starts working into the direction of finding those key pointers in the photograph. I mean, if you look into this picture is actually taking your, I mean, you look into this picture, your eye is actually traveling into the picture. There's no point of distraction anywhere. I always love to prefer pictures which has clouds or maybe blue skies and things like that. But for this particular picture, I think I was lucky enough to get no clouds. The white flat background looks perfectly fine to me. There's no obstruction. There's no extra element in the picture which is actually creating any sort of I would say any sort of distraction for the viewer's eye. So this is something I want to share. And since I've been telling this from like the initial of the session, that I love to capture pictures which conveys a lot of uh, background, which conveys a lot of sense of the area you are shooting in, that emotional connect. So I mean, you look at this picture, and I'm pretty sure if you have been to mountains, if you have seen these pine trees, you would definitely say that this has been shot in a mountainous area. So this is something which I love to do. Again, I mean, the rule of thirds has been followed, but a lot of people would have said that if the car would have been in the left hand side, if there would have been like more space on the right, it would have been better. But again, as I say, I heard this somewhere in photography. It is not about equation. I mean, it is like for every genre. I mean, you're doing sports, weddings, whatever you are doing. It's in photography. It is not about equation. It is about intuition. So in mathematics, you say 2 plus 2 is 4, but in photography, it's not. It could be 5, it could be 6 for someone, or it could be 8 for someone. So it is about intuition. If you're getting an intuition that this is the shot which you would love to, you know, mint money out of, then yes, it is intuition. So this is a picture of CS Santosh. I mean, most of you, I mean, if you are interested into motorsports, you might have heard this name. He's one of the best riders of India. He has been to Dakar Rally and all that. This was being shot again in a desert rally. I mean, it's for Santosh. I always say for CS Santosh. I always say whenever he comes. I mean, this is again a CS Santosh shot. Previously, he was working for Suzuki. Then right now he's working for Hero. I mean, he's being sponsored by Hero. So I always say about Santosh, when you are shooting a rally, the first ever bike which you are gonna see is of. I mean, if he's participating, it will be CS Santosh only. And for him, I always used to say is like. This is the only person who actually scares the shit out of you in terms of the way he drives. It's like it's like super amazing to watch him, how he drives on these sand dunes and all that. It's like scary too. Shooting him is like quite challenging as well, because though he's like super duper experienced, but in more sports anything can go wrong at any point of time. I have had instances when I saw cars toppling up, not in front of me, like quite far off me. I was just watching that car coming to me, just past me, went like few like 100 meters away from me, and it just toppled up like anything. I've seen such instances. Catching fire is something really common in more sports. um, so this is again one shot of the very same location. As you can see behind the person, I mean this biker is coming from a dune which was an uphill, and he's coming to a downhill area, and that kid who's like jumping in the background is standing on the highest point of that particular dune. Again, the similar sort of composition, but this is something I prefer more. And I was fortunate enough to have this picture on the Nikon's website as well. If you go to NPS section of the Nikon, you can actually find this picture over there. So I think I'll just turn on some comments, because from this onwards I would like to shift to my cricket and badminton photography. If any one of you have got like any sort of questions or something, you can definitely just write them here, and I would be like super duper happy to help you out with it. And till the time I'm waiting for them, I should tell you that when you are doing more sports, when you are shooting things like that, you you tend to witness such sort of places which are like heavenly. These places are like amazing. So this is just a picture which I shot when I was on an assignment. I had got this picture. So I'm just waiting for your comments. If you have got like any sort of questions or something related to equipment and all, I'm like super happy to help you out with it. Okay, I was talking about such sort of pictures as well, like 2 minutes ago. As I mentioned, that most of the sports photographer, what they tend to do is they just zoom into the subject, and everything is sorted. So look at this picture, and this has been shot from the front. There's no action happening, though the tires are mid in the air, like just a bit. There's no action, there's no background visibility over there, but still it's a nice shot. And compare this picture with this one. So as you can see, revealing the background is something which is super duper important, but this just goes completely off when you're doing professional sports. When I say professional, I mean like badminton, cricket, or maybe football and things like that. So I think people are not asking any questions related to more sports. So I'll just shift quickly to my cricket photography. Let me have a moment. I'm turning off the comments right now. So gradually, as I mentioned, I started shooting cricket as well. This is one shot. Things are completely different. Till this point of time, like from last 30-40 minutes, I was talking about more sports, but things are like completely different when you are shooting more sports and when you are shooting sports like these, because in situations like these, a lot of things are pre-planned in terms of who's gonna be the next player, where's the batting position, you know about the fact that this is the nice position where I can get a good shot. So look at this picture. I always say that when you are doing sports, it's very important to capture that particular shot when the action is at its peak. So compare this statement with this photograph. As you can see, the action is at its peak. The ball is just above the wicket, and the batsman was lucky enough that it didn't touch. The ball didn't touch the stump at all. So these are the kind of pictures which I have been doing, and I love doing that. Look at this picture. This has been shot in night, and as you can see, the batsman. I mean, just have a look at the expression on the face of the batsman, because the player, the fielder whose number is jersey number is 12, is about to catch the ball, and he's gonna be out in next few seconds. So these are the kind of pictures which differentiates you and others. So I was talking about when I was talking about more sports, I mentioned that revealing the background is very important, revealing the particular area is very important. But look at this picture. For such sort of sports, using all these fast lenses, 500 f4, 600 f4, or maybe 400 2.8, such sort of lenses are something which are like super duper important, because you have to have use the shallow depth of field, because if you won't use that, you'll be getting all those brandings and everything in the background, which is gonna which will just completely ruin the shot. Seeing all that clutter in the background is something no one wants to see. But I mean, look at this picture. You can still see the branding, that EESL, but again, it's very softened up. It was shot at f4, I believe. So I was using 500 lens for this. Look at this picture. As I mentioned, you have to shoot the pictures when the action is at its peak. You can definitely get that in this shot. For a quick session, I'm just thinking of playing a video. Let me just have a quick look at this video. um, a lot of people are interested, a lot of budding photographers, a lot of people are interested to see the behind the scene kind of stories and all, when the sports photographers are working. So I made this quick video for this session very quickly, because I really wanted you all to see that what goes behind when we are shooting things. This is one of the matches which I did. I was lucky enough to have someone with me who did these clips for me. And I used the D5 camera Z6 for the video. I mean, all these video shots have been done with the Z6. Um, so yeah, maybe this video can actually give you some sort of insight into the background things which go behind the shooting scenarios. And it's sort of difficult, but at times you end up loving things, because this is what you had always wanted to do. So for me, photography is not just a profession. Even these days, even after doing things, after like it's been a decade I've been shooting, even after so many years, I still crave for shooting new things. If I ever get an opportunity to shoot maybe rugby in India, I would definitely love to do it. I particularly believe, not just for a sports photographer, for any photographer who's doing any sort of genre, it's very important to have that feeling of craving in you. You should always be craving to shoot more, to crave, to shoot different things altogether. There's one small video, and so now I think I want to share some of my marathon photographs which you might love to see. I will look at this one. This one was being done in Oman. There's a very famous marathon, Muscat Marathon. This was done over there. The idea of shooting this picture was to get the branding, because when you are working as a corporate sports photographer, you have to follow particular guidelines of the brand you are working for, the company you are working for. So the whole idea of composing this picture was uh, to show the brandings all around, to show the kind of setup which the place has, the runner coming in, the crowd lined up cheering up the runners coming in. So this was done, and let me just share a few more shots of the marathon. For marathon, I particularly love this picture. This was being done in Abu Dhabi, if I'm able to recollect it properly. Yeah, this is Abu Dhabi. This was ITU World Triathlon. As you can see, the lady who's just about to finish the race is being getting boosted by someone who's just standing opposite to the finish line, and the kind of expression she has on her face is something very interesting. So yeah, I mean, it's very important to even when you are shooting sports, it's very important to shoot such sort of group pictures and all that, because they are the ones who which actually gives you the complete insight of the whole event. These are some of the marathon photographs. This is again Abu Dhabi triathlon. This was I think Dubai marathon. So this is again a very interesting shot when marathons are happening. This is a Abu Dhabi marathon. When the marathons are happening, what happens? There are like volunteers lined up at a particular distance, and they are actually offering them something to drink. All these sponges and all that. These wet sponges, and they use these sponges to keep them cool in those. Um, High temperatures. This is again the very same situation, but the whole idea was to get that red roof in the background. That's Ferrari World over there in the Abu Dhabi. At this point, we were not having like any sort of higher vantage point, so this was the only best possibility which me as a photographer could do to get that red roof, because that red roof itself is a self-explanatory thing for anyone who has been over there. I have been doing a lot of cycling events as well. Have a look at this picture. This happened in Delhi only. This like few some time back. I'm unable to recollect it properly. Yeah. So this happened in Delhi only. This was a cycling event, and let me share a few more cycling event photographs with you. So even in cycling, what happens? They are like marathons are like you have triathlons as well. When you are shooting marathons, you can actually start getting triathlon assignments as well. And in triathlons, I was lucky enough to shoot the cycling stuff, and it's quite challenging to shoot cyclists, because they are like though they look as if they are driving, like they are riding really slow, but it's hard to shoot them because you have to be on the particular spots where they are actually taking a turn or things like that. Look at this picture. This is a very straightforward shot of a person driving through the Yas Marina circuit of Abu Dhabi. The only point of getting choosing this photograph was to represent the fact that how this is representing the background, how it is showing the details in the background, all those leading lines and all that. The only point was that. And this is again one more cycling photograph. I think it is getting cropped up a bit because I don't know why it's getting cropped up a bit. Have a look at this one. This is again a cycling photograph which I've done so far. So even in more sports, okay, I'll just show you a very quick picture which I just got. I wanted this to share with you. Let me just take you back to the more sports, and I'm turning on the comments right now because this session will be ending in next 5-6 minutes. So this photo can actually tell you that how difficult it is to be in the desert in the midst of 50 degrees or 45, 48 degrees, and when you are actually walking in an area like this. So it's I mean, as I mentioned, 90% of the time gets spent in planning out things. You actually get to see places like these where it's very difficult to walk, and even in such sort of scenarios where you can't drive a car, you so usually as a photographer it's very hard to get I mean, a lot of sponsors, they don't give you four-wheel drives and all, so you have to walk a lot and find that particular spot. And when you are doing that, you end up getting such sort of pictures as well. All these behind-the-scene photographs, you end up getting that as well. I wanted to share this with you as well. I hope you can see it. I think there are no comments related to anything, just hello or something like that. Hi guys. So this was being done for the Badminton Premier League, and you can have a look at the picture. As I mentioned, you really need to use faster lenses to remove the clutter in the background, but for this I really wanted the branding to be visible, like Star Sports was the sponsor for this particular event, and the name of the event is PBL, and this photograph is like completely self-explanatory. This is Marine. I mean, you might have heard about her. She's one of the best in the world when it comes to badminton, and she was playing in the team of Hyderabad Hunters, if I can recollect properly, and it's visible in the background as well. And that shuttle, the amount of concentration she has on that shuttle, which is just opposite to her face, is like something really interesting about this picture. Mm, you end up shooting such sort of pictures as well. Shooting badminton is again very difficult and very different from shooting cricket. So even in sports, when someone says I'm a sports photographer, I'm a dedicated sports photographer, even in sports you have got like so many sports out there, and no one can be perfect in every single sport. I mean, if you talk about cricket photography, there are like particular names who are like damn famous in terms of you just give them the assignment and they'll get all the action shots from that particular match. You talk about badminton, there are a lot of Japanese photographers who are like very famous. You talk about rallies, there's a photographer from Argentina, MCH guy, like super famous people. So when someone says I'm completely into sports photography, it's very hard to believe that he has been doing good stuff in everything. I'm sorry for this glitch. Let me just do it quickly. Yep, it's working fine now. Okay, I can see a few questions here. This is live from Dubai. Hi. I Nikon 7200 is good. Yeah, it is. It is a nice camera. You can do marathons and all that. Best camera and lens for this photography, as I'm beginner. Please mention what do you mean by this in terms of camera. I've seen people shooting with very basic cameras, even a D 5500, 66, 5600, such sort of cameras. I've seen, Rohit. People are using them. I've seen sports photographer like beginners using 7300 lenses to kickstart with. Can I join you with yeah, definitely get in touch. What's your future dream? See, I think future dreams, let's not discuss it here. Which lens do you use for those specs? So in particular, Rohit, in my setup I use 1424, 2470, 7200 fisheye lens. So you have to carry everything. You have to be ready with all sort of focal lengths. Which gear will you use? Please mention where. But yeah, anything above D750 is perfectly fine. So I should say that any camera equipment which has got 5-6 fps is perfectly fine for more sports. Any camera which is up beyond 7-8 fps is perfectly fine for cricket and all that. So 7 fps is something which if you have a camera which has a 7 fps, it will not create any sort of hindrance for you to get that perfect shot. Setting used for sports, Lalit Dhingra. Lalit, settings for sports is something which is very particular for a particular shot. Please ask this question in a detailed manner. Though when I talk about settings, you are majorly using faster shutter speeds, And if it's a low light, you have to boost your ISO. If it's a daylight, you can play with your ISO really well. Please explain the flash sync. Okay, so this is the best question which I have got till now. So Harsh Jatal, flash sync, they're like you can sync your flashes a trigger. You can purchase 2, 3, 4, whatever number of flashes, and you can buy trigger them, and you can just trigger those flashes with your camera. You can just put your flashes on slave mode, and they'll just keep on firing for you on manual mode as well, with the kind of power output you would want. And even in flash, I mentioned something about slow sync flash. If you go to your flash settings, you can find a slow sync option over there. And what happens, a slow sync flash, what it does is it clicks the photograph, the shutter opens up first, and when the shutter is closing, the flash fires up. So I think we can do another session on slow sync flash for sure. And let me take more questions. How to get more sports designer, being a sports photographer? Hi, Omans, definitely getting more sports photography in last few years. I know there's a lot of people out there who have been doing things for like so this is a learning problem with job doing photography. They're talking about this only. I've been seeing a lot of photographers doing things real cheap for real. I think people who are doing it as well. That's a great experience. So right now, getting more sports assignment is quite complicated. It's very important to have your plans beforehand, but if you're still planning to fetch few assignments, I think it's better to get in touch with the people who are actually doing it right away, or maybe try to get in touch with these companies who are sponsoring things. A lot of companies who are into organizing things. You can just search about them on Google and just shoot them emails, share your portfolio. If they would love to have you, you can definitely. इंग्लिश ओके हिंदी में बोलो सॉरी ब्रो स्वरूप सिंह अब तो सेशन हो गया इंग्लिश में आई एम सॉरी कैन रिपेयर माई विच वॉज फॉलोन crazy backpacker, please take it to Nikon center. Don't try to get your camera open from a local shop out there in the market. Who is the correct person company to approach if you want to try covering a sports event? Jimmy Schroff, we can get in touch. I work by the name of Retina Charmer. Search about it. Do you drive, move around in your own car? Do you Yeah, the sponsors, Jimmy, the sponsors give us the car, a dedicated car with an assistant, all that food and everything, and we are on our own usually. What kind of events would you recommend someone new to sports photography to try? I think to start with, start shooting kids, start doing marathon events. These days marathons are very famous. Once this pandemic ends, I hope this ends soon, these marathons will be back quickly, and you can start shooting these marathons. It's easy to do that, plus they are happening everywhere. You'll get a lot of experience. Should you offer to shoot events free when you are new to the genre? What rough rate per event? I think this is a very personal questions. I would not do that though, but it's a very personal question. You can actually take a call on this on your own. I'm sorry, I can't help you on that. Do we need special permissions to get to these places? For not permissions, you have to get in touch with the organizers. They, if they hire you, you'll get all access. Rallies, how do you move around the desert yourself? Usually I'm walking. Yeah, if the car is unable to go till that particular point, usually I'm walking. There has been instances that in a particular day I had to walk like 7-8 kilometers, that too in 3 feet 2 feet deep, or maybe 1 feet deep sand. What basic equipments are enough to go for more? I mean, you can start with a basic camera like 7000, D7000, D7200, and I should say D7500 is very good. I've used it for an assignment, and I was like completely amazed to see the performance of that particular. So to start with, you can definitely go for D7500 if you don't want to invest in D5 or D4, things like that. I have D5200 and more wildlife photography, which can, I think for wildlife you definitely D5200 you can definitely start with that. For wildlife, I think just raise this question for Nikon. They can do a session for this. New Nikon camera D6 is coming soon. I mean, it's around already. Which lenses you use for marathon? So for marathon, 7200 is more than enough. But I have also done marathons using a fisheye lens. Do permission need for sports. What kind of permission, Rahul? Please mention it properly. What should be the focus setting to get sharp eye in case of a, yeah, quite a nice question. So for Nikon, there's something called AFC, autofocus continuous mode. When you are shooting sports, it's super duper advisable to use that mode, AFC, because on this mode you can actually keep a track of the subject in motion. What should be the focus setting? Okay, I answered it, snap orbit. uh, cool. So I think आपके पास कौन सा कैमरा है? I've got so many cameras, Afat 750, Z6, D5. I've got 7000s as well. So yeah, I use a lot of cameras. This is perfectly fine. Yes, you are. It's fine. Okay. So I think now is the time when we should be wrapping up this session. Thank you for bearing up with me. I hope I was able to help you out with your questions. I hope you learned a bit. If you would like to have me here quite often, let me know. We would love to do more sessions with you. Thank you so much. And if you have any sort of purchase and sale queries, I actually pinned this comment in the comment section. You can drop an email to nindsales@nikon.com, and they can definitely help you out with all your sales queries. I think I'm getting 3 more questions. Let me just answer them real quick. And let's see. What should be the focus setting? Okay, that's the old one. Cool. Thanks for having me here, and I hope we go through this pandemic stage real quick and everything becomes perfectly fine for everyone. See you.